Hi, welcome back to Solomon's Porch with your host Jason.
And Shawn.
And man, Sean left with a rip, and I can smell it already. Woo! I'm so sorry, y'all. That was
Why
rough.
why are you saying sorry to them? Shouldn't I be apologizing to you?
Oh man. So yeah, man. So we're back on the porch. If you missed it, we just did
You wish we were on the porch.
Yeah, I do wish we were on a porch somewhere with the wind blowing nice and away from my face. But so we just did some Bible study tips for y'all. Y'all can go check that video out if you haven't checked it out yet. We kind of wanted to discuss real quick, or actually I did, I guess so. Mentorship and why the church needs it. So I helped teach the growth track at my local church, and we just went through a whole semester talking about the different stages of the Christian walk, from seeker to infant to adolescent, parent or adult, and then parent. So kind of similar to, in the same way, our biological human nature is, infant, and you kind of grow up and become mature. And then a lot of people do become parents or parent-like figures to other people, even if they don't have their own children. And so, but in the spiritual walk, is kind of the same thing. And I mean, so just kind of start off, Shawn, did you ever have any like official mentors, or maybe not so official mentors, kind of growing up or in your Christian life?
Uh, I would say not in a more traditional sense. Probably the closest was that I had an accountability partner. So before I was getting married, while I was still engaged before our wedding, I had our associate pastor as an accountability partner to make sure that before we got to that wedding day, things were still as pure as possible. And
Pure as possible. I like that.
yeah, well, I mean, I lived a life before then, so
Yeah.
but anyway, um, and it was great having that extra person in my life that it's not like we had to call and hang out or something and go to the park together, take long walks, whatever. I don't know what mentors do. No, but it wasn't like that kind of a friendship, as much as it was that it was one brother to another saying, I understand that these are struggles, and I'm here to help. This ain't gonna last forever. We have the cutoff date, right? So it wasn't like it was a long-term contract kind of thing. And I see that in terms of mentorship, that a lot of times that it is very long-term. Sometimes can be super involved, but sometimes can be short-term and not as involved. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, I know. I think some people kind of split up like mentorship and coach. And I think coaches are more of that kind of stand back and help you with certain particular things. Than a mentor is more involved in your life. And but either way, though, I think in biblically, I don't think there's really coaches. It's more mentors, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't there walking around with folks. I don't know how those relationships really, were hashed out. But either way, though, I think in today's church, and I've talked to so many people and asked about, like, have they ever had a mentor? And more so, I hear no than yes. Like, most people don't really have mentors, and I think as we got closer to today's age, it dwindled down because, one, I just think everybody's too busy. Like, everybody's pinching moments just to get like regular things done a lot of times.
well, but I also think that folks don't necessarily feel like that they're as qualified as maybe once upon a time folks felt like that they were. And and
Yeah,
and, and
yeah,
I say feeling like you're qualified. You probably never fully feel like you're qualified, but we're willing to say, I'm willing to go on this journey with you,
yeah.
whatever that looks like, and I'll do what I can.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of one of the other biggest things, I think, is the lack of time that people have. Because I feel like a lot of people who probably would be great mentors are just extremely busy, so they feel like I'm not going to have the time that I need to invest in a person. And I know one thing that my mentor, my pastor, told me. He said that a mentor is really on a general principle. You're really there for someone to lean on when needed. You're not like checking in with them every day. That's more that accountability partner. Like, hey, how you doing? And I think we all need those too. Every once in a while, shoot a text. Hey, I ain't heard from you in a couple of days. Just checking to make sure everything's cool. Need prayer about something. Go get lunch one day. Yada yada yada. I think mentor, from what I understand, is more like, hey, I got a question about this situation. I'm encountering this problem. Can you help me through that?
What's the best way to hide a body? How do you dispose of one in a, 30-minute window? Stuff like that.
Help me find a spiritual loophole so I can commit this sinful act without it being sin.
Oh, dude, I got that one covered.
So I think a lot of us have that covered. But I think it's important, man. And I think one thing that I want everybody out there to kind of think about is if you've been saved for a good period of time, if you've learned a couple things in your Christian walk, if you've encountered hiccups in your walk, or you've broken through some strongholds, maybe you came into this Christian walk and you came in addicted to one thing or another, whether it's alcohol, drugs, pornography, whatever it may
Sugar.
be. Sugar. I think a lot of people can mentor on that. But if you've broken through one of those things, you might be a great mentor to someone who's going through it, someone who's walking into the faith and to say, hey, I want to follow Jesus, but I'm struggling with this particular area. And you'd probably be a good mentor. One thing that I heard in kind of the business world whenever I was studying business and about coaching and about experts in particular fields is that an expert generally knows about 20% more of a topic than the average person. And so if you can find a person that's might have been walking with Jesus maybe 20% more, or maybe they've studied just 20% more, because here's the truth. Like you said, like you said, Shawn, I'm gonna get my words twisted. I don't think anybody's going to ever feel like I can be a great parent. I'm going to be the best parent, like not in this type of a scenario. In the same way, I don't think like naturally, I don't think everybody ever is completely ready to be a parent until they are for the first time, and then they figure things out as they go. I feel like it's kind of the same as being a spiritual parent. I think
I was totally ready.
You're ready?
Yeah.
Well, that's good, man.
I had all the answers.
You're one of very few. One of very few. But I think
I'm pretty much one of a
so we have to expect that we're going to mess up. I think kind of you were talking about that kind of fear of not feeling ready.
Right.
We're going to mess up. As regular parents, I think anybody who is one, we have all messed up from time to time.
Well, and that goes back to even why some folks deny the call of being a pastor.
Yeah.
Is that they don't want to feel responsible for somebody's spiritual condition, and messing somebody up, giving them wrong information, and leading them astray.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. I've met a lot of people who have felt like they were just not good enough to be a pastor, and there is, and just to clarify, there is a calling on a pastor's life. There are kind of standards that are set in Scripture that Paul wrote to Timothy and Titus about pastors and deacons and elders and how they should live their life. But I think even on top of that, like we're never going to be perfect. We're going to mess up. In Romans 7, Paul talks about he does the things he knows he shouldn't do and doesn't do the things that he always knows he should do, and all these things, and there's this struggle that he has. So we're all going to have that struggle.
So he wears plaids with stripes and paisleys like everybody else does today, when we all know that we shouldn't do that.
Probably so.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was the struggle that Paul had.
I think so. That was the thorn in his side.
It was either 3 straps across the sandal or 2.
Yeah. Well, or right after Labor Day or something.
Yeah, his labor was a little bit different, but he couldn't wear that white after Labor Day because of Philippians 4:13. So, but either way, I kind of want to just take a quick moment here just to let you know, one, if you're looking for a mentor, just straight up ask somebody if they'd be willing to be your mentor. I think that's an uncomfortable question to ask somebody. Like, hey,
Yeah.
can you mentor me? And for some reason, it almost feels like you're asking somebody out on a date for the first time. Like, it just feels awkward. I remember the first time that, like, when I did it, the first person I officially asked, like, "Hey, will you mentor me?" was interesting enough, someone with my same last name, but he's a pastor, church planter from Virginia, and I was like, "Man, I really wish you were kind of around closer to me because I feel like I could learn a lot from you in a practical ways." And he said, "Well, we can do it over the phone. Like, you can call me anytime you need help or guidance, or if you have a question, just text me, stuff like that." And then my local pastor, he told me, he said, "Hey, if you want me to mentor me, you're going to have to ask me, and then I would do it. But like, it's got to be kind of clearly understood. Like, hey, this is what you're expecting of me, and this is what I'll expect from you.
Right.
Because otherwise, because I had someone the other day who mentioned they never had or a mentor, and so I thought about myself and how I would like beat around the bush. I would say to people who I wanted to mentor me, like, yeah, I've never had a mentor. I've never, you know, I would do that, and I would hope that they would ask me. So now it's like if I see someone that says like, "Hey, I've never had guidance, I've never had help in this area," like I'm as a person who feels like I could mentor in certain areas, I'm going to ask that person, "Hey, would you like me to be that for you?"
See, it was actually more awkward when you were doing that because I was kind of like, is he wanting me to mentor him? Because I don't really like him that much, and I'd really hate to do this. And I put this like weird field between the two of us, and it was like every time I saw you, it was like, was he gonna like go there again or something? I just,
Well, it's interesting because honestly, like I mean, you were actually my first mentor without calling it mentor.
no, no,
I mean, you really were though because you had done youth ministry in a couple different places, or at least for a period of time.
yeah.
And I felt like I was being called to youth ministry. And I think everybody who really wants to be a pastor always feels called to do youth ministry first for whatever reason.
Okay.
And so
It's the
like
gateway drug.
it's a gateway drug. It's a ministry. I don't know. I think it's a
Gateway
I,
ministry.
I think it's a deterrent actually. I
It
think
can be for sure.
but I think it depends on the parents you deal with. But
Yeah, yeah. The kids aren't the worst of it.
that's just a bit of advice for anybody who
Sorry.
feels if you feel called to youth ministry, just know the kids are the easy part of the job.
Pretty
But
much.
but yeah, like you and I had, you were more like a mentor to me for a long time, and then we kind of became more accountability partners and or friends or
No, don't put
uh,
those labels on me.
I don't know, man. I know you hate labels, but anyway, so okay, go back to the topic. If
Yeah.
you
Get back.
are looking for a mentor, then ask the person straight up.
Yep.
If you're a person who feels like you could mentor someone, then and you hear them suggest anything or say anything about that, then ask them because a lot of times they just feel nervous to ask that kind of question.
Well, clear communication is really what you're getting at here.
Yeah,
So if you're wanting a mentor, be clear about it. Don't be afraid to ask. Just go ahead and put it out there, and also make sure that you understand what it is that you're expecting out of the relationship, so that way you can say what I'm looking for is this, 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 and this, and then that way that person can, the potential mentor can tell you, well, I can help you out with this and this, but I can't do all the rest of this stuff, and I'd be happy to help you with this, or, they can just tell you to, shove off because they ain't got time for you anyway. But as a mentor, potential mentor, same thing. So you're hearing somebody that's, kind of beating around the bush on it, just be upfront and clear. Hey, are you looking for a mentor? I mean, because you're kind of saying that, right? Would you like for me to mentor you? I'm not really a mentor, but I can put you in touch with a mentor. Or, I can mentor, but I really only feel like, these are the areas or these are the types of things that I can really dedicate to you.
yeah.
I'm not going to give you my phone number, but you can email me. I don't know, whatever you do. So what forms of communication, hours of the day, because you know what, somebody may work some pretty funky hours, and you texting them when they're supposed to be sleeping can be pretty, off-putting and then annoying, and then you're not getting the help that you need, and they're not going to want to be there. So
No, if your mentor works third shift, it's perfectly fine to call them at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
yeah,
No worries at all.
don't do that.
There was something else I was going to say, and I started losing. Oh yeah. So, and kind of what Shawn was saying is like, you could have one person who is perfectly fit to mentor, like your early marriage walk. So, I feel like it's good for people who get married to have other married couples they can kind of walk that out with. So when you're starting to encounter some first year marriage issues, and you can go to them and say, hey, did y'all encounter this? If so, yada yada yada. They might not be the same people that's going to mentor you through
Parenting.
seminary or parenting. That's a good, because a lot of times we assume that great married couple are great parents, and that's not always the case either.
Yeah.
So you want to find people who are kind of experts in their field. They 20% more than you in their field, and then I can go to this person for this, but if I want this, then I'll go somewhere else.
Well, even for that matter, going off of the parenting part of things, is that every child's different, and so just because this couple may seem to have parenting down really well, they may have been blessed with children of a certain demeanor and attitude that is much easier to manage and to rear up, whereas there are children that are more of a struggle, and and there's lots of great books that tackle those sorts of things, but to be able to have the opportunity to go to somebody that has had those same struggles, it's not unlike okay, well, your kid's struggling with drug addiction. You're not going to go to the parent whose kid's just struggling with an A, or the difference between an A and a B in math class. They don't have the clue as to what that's like to have a child that's stealing from you constantly, that's always getting into trouble, that's police are knocking on your door in the middle of the night. They don't have a clue what that's like. They're great parents, that's fine, but so making sure that you find somebody that matches the affect of whatever your needs are.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good stuff. So that's pretty much it. That's all that I had. There's a lot more we can dive into, but I want to eat up everybody's time and or any more of our time, because it's getting kind of late as of the recording.
A
And
little
I
bit.
have to be at work early in the morning. So yeah, man. Appreciate everybody for staying with us, checking this out. Very grateful for our sponsors, our Patreon supporters, Sam Blackwell, Jason Motley. You guys are awesome for supporting the show. Also for Eternal, ETURNUL, for being the sponsor of this podcast episode. Go check out The Messenger, which is his latest project. And I think that's it, man. You got anything else to end us off with, or no?
No.
All right. Well, we'll be back next time. Sorry we had so long of a gap for anybody who was highly anticipating us coming up with another topic. So yeah, we'll be back soon. Stay tuned, and always remember, Jesus loves you way more than we ever could.
Amen.